Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm Chuck Marsh, the Director of University Relations, and I'm pleased to welcome you to Penn State Abington. The commencement ceremony will begin momentarily. Out of respect for the graduating students, we request that you refrain from unnecessary conversations or moving about during the exercises. Please turn off or mute all electronic devices and avoid inappropriate noises and actions that might detract from the academic formality of this program. Please note that only authorized press and university photographers are permitted on the floor or mezzanine to take pictures while the exercises are in progress. Guests are welcome to take photos from their seats, and there will be additional opportunities to take photos after the ceremony, both here in the building or during the reception afterwards. And now, at this time, we ask that you clear all aisles, find your seat, and all rise if you are able for the processional.
Good morning. Please remain standing for the national anthem performed by the Abingtons and accompanied by the Miravi Quartet. Thank you. Graduating seniors, faculty and staff, students, and honored guests, welcome to our Spring 2017 Commencement ceremony. So, full disclosure, we had planned this to be outside to enjoy the beauty of the Abington campus. Mother Nature had other plans for us. But we like to say that we're a tight-knit family at Penn State Abington. This morning, we're tightly knit. So thank you for your understanding and patience. And join me in thanking our facilities and university relations team that arranged this at a last minute's notice. Please be seated. Class of 2017, although this is a day to celebrate you and your accomplishments, I'm sure that many have supported you along the way. Let us begin then by thanking them. Would the class of 2017 please stand? Turn and face our audience. And thank those who supported you and encouraged you. Now, please face this way and thank the faculty on both sides, the staff, and our Director of Student Affairs, Gina Kaufman, all celebrating your success here with you. You may be seated. Congratulations, class of 2017. When you joined us many years ago, we became partners in your success. As you leave the college today, we continue to be your lifelong partners. We will offer support, guidance, and encouragement throughout the years. Class of 2017. During your time at Abington, you have learned to dive deep, engage in, go forward, speak up. You've learned to serve and challenge, to construct and deconstruct, to calculate, to fight traffic, to hop on the shuttle, to miss the shuttle, to wait for parking and wait some more, to rush, to juggle, to negotiate differences and discover commonalities, to put your words into action, to persist, to stumble, to get up and go forward. Our faculty has asked you to think and rethink, to write, to do, to solve problems, to try harder, to abandon your comfort zones, to go out into the world empowered in mind and heart. Perhaps we have asked you to do too much. Today, in my farewell words to you, I invite you to take a pause, just a breather, to recall concepts and words that you have learned while at Abington, and reflect on those words and their power. In a society that overvalues action and undervalues words and thoughts, it is appropriate to consider the power of words. Because we make the world through our words, we must care about them. Even though you will experience times when words will fail you, for instance, when confronting paralyzing pain, or they might abandon you as you are overcome with breathtaking beauty and the depth of love. Words are essential to understand the world, to navigate it, to define who you are in it. Even if they're fickle at times, words open worlds to you. The average undergraduate, not that any of you is average, learns about 5,000 new words during his or her time in college. You now have the vocabulary at your disposal to make meaning of the world, to construct and reconstruct it, your identity and your purpose. I love to discover terms with no English equivalent because they provide a name for an experience or concept we are already familiar with, but we did not know we knew. The kind of thing about which we're likely to say, why don't we have a word for that? For example, the Filipino word gigil, which stands for the urge to pinch something irresistibly cute. Or the German Kummerspeck, excess weight gained from emotional overeating, literally translated as grief bacon. Or the word roux, from the Songa South African language, for to sleep on the floor without a mat while drunk and unclothed. Not that any of you will ever need to use that word. Or the Brazilian Portuguese word cafune, to run your fingers tenderly through your lover's hair. That's a word we need. Learning words like these help us discover fresh dimensions of the human experience across cultural divides. But revisiting words that you learned while at Abington also propose new perspectives on the world around you. To that end, I asked several of your faculty members, your teachers, for a word. I said just one word that both encapsulated and freed their disciplines. A word that would unlock understanding and at the same time pose questions beyond their technical definition, suggesting paths forwards, raising challenges. Think of this exercise as discovering the hidden lives of words. I will share with you a partial list of the words I received from your professors. They're words that carry implicit advice that might guide you long after you leave us today. Professor of Asian History and Religious Studies, Pierre Salguero, replied to my request for one word with the term contextualize. To contextualize is what Professor Salguero asked his students to do. To put in context so as to understand a culture, a place, and a time from within. To contextualize requires the ability to think and feel like others, to build bridges between now and then, between us and them, between here and there. What better way to live your lives than to approach through contextualizing? And as we contextualize the past and others and their beliefs, we learn how to question our own structures, our own context, the rules of our times, the dogmas of our place, the here and now. When should we be in sync with our time and place and culture? And when will you be out of sync with your time, your place, and your culture? If you are fortunate enough to take a course with Len Mustasa, Distinguished Professor of English and American Studies, you would have learned the concept of adaptation as it applies to storytelling. Adaptation is the artistic accommodation from one narrative genre, say history, to another, film. Adaptation is a useful concept beyond history and literature, as we are all called to adapt. When and why will you choose to adapt to your context? When and why will you choose not to adapt? When are you called to resist, standing up, speaking your truth against what is popular in your context? In Professor of Business and International Law, Salar Garamani's class, you learn the word pluralism. Pluralism is a key concept in democratic theory, as it refers to the recognition and affirmation of diversity in politics, which allows the peaceful coexistence of different identities, interests, and convictions. Only through pluralistic access and opportunity can groups have a say in what happens in their communities and their nations. What takes place when a democratic nation denies access and opportunity? Do you resist or do you adapt? How do we embrace the whole, ensuring the rights of subgroups? How do we ensure differences within our commonalities and guarantee that our differences do not erode our commonality? Essential questions for our nation since its founding and for our context today. When I asked Professor Judy Newman, Professor of Human Development and Family Studies, for a word her students learned, she replied in classic Newman style, "Me, one word? Impossible." Why provide just one word when she could provide so many that she wanted to share? The term that caught my attention was the well-lit room standard. Many words. The well-lit room standard. It refers to the expectation that as a professional, you will always behave as if supervisors and colleagues were watching you. I would say as if your parents were watching you too. In other words, you're expected to do the right thing. What a simple and illuminating concept that is. How difficult, though, for individuals, groups, and nations, even democratic ones, to have the lights on all the time. What is your role in shining a light on your context? Professor of Chemistry Judy Osmond replied to my request with one word: periodicity. Periodicity, I needed to Google it, is the recurring and predictable variations of the properties of elements. Yes. In other words, continuity and change, differences and similarities go hand in hand in nature. One could say that they're well orchestrated. They make the world what it is. Not only the natural world, but the social world as well. Difference and commonalities are shared by all elements of life. If you took a music course with Professor John Pachance, you probably learned the term con anima. Con anima, meaning with spirit, with feeling, with life. That is surely the way to play Chopin, or sing with Beyoncé, or dance to Lady Gaga. And I would add, that is the way to live your life. Why would you not live con anima? So as you leave Abington today, take these words with you. Those are only a small portion of Abington's legacy for you. Steward those words with care. Contextualize. Approach the world through understanding, connecting with others as you go along. Adapt as needed, but resist when you must. Remember that there's no democratic nation without plural groups and difference of opinions, and that all the parts empower us to be stronger. Behave as you lived in a well-lit room, even when no one is watching. Remember that we all share the same elemental building blocks in common, despite periodic variations on a theme, and even in different configurations. We are part of a chemical, human, cosmic whole. And don't forget to live con anima, spirited, with soul. Time is too short to sing, dance, play, work, and love otherwise. And share your joy. I wish we had a word for that. Share the joy. I have looked and looked and I've yet to find it. I hope you keep learning words all lifelong, discovering possibilities, posing questions, dealing with the challenges that they pose. Starting today, I'm going to teach you a word. So I offer you a final new word for your vocabulary. It's a Cuban colloquialism rooted in African tradition and in our unconquerable tropical joy. Ache. It means, may the spirit of goodness accompany you. Ache, class of 2017. Thank you. It is now my pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker, distinguished attorney, and New York Times best-selling author, Lawrence Otis Graham. Lawrence, or Larry to his friends, is a nationally recognized voice whose books, essays, and commentaries examine the enduring issues that stratify America: politics, race, class, gender, diversity, and education. He has written only 14 books, the first one when he was a freshman at Princeton, I found out last night, including his bestseller, Our Kind of People, Inside America's Black Upper Class, which is in its 30th printing, and Netflix is developing into a series. A graduate of Princeton University and Harvard Law School, Lawrence is a frequent commentator on programs including Charlie Rose, Good Morning America, Hardball with Chris Matthews, and The Today Show. Yes, he has been in Oprah, as he informed us today. His writing has appeared in New York Magazine and the New York Times, and he has served as contributing editor for U.S. News and World Report. I have to say that Larry is here despite the fact that his daughter is performing a violin concert at her school. Maybe that's why he's here. In any case, please join me in welcoming our commencement speaker, Lawrence Otis Graham.
Thank you very much, Chancellor Fernandez. And good morning, everyone. Good morning, graduates. Good morning, family and friends, and to the board, to the faculty and administration and staff. I want to thank you so much for welcoming me here this morning. And it's an honor to be here. I got to come a few months ago and see what this campus looks like when it's not raining. And it's a beautiful campus. And I frankly feel that we are now in a more intimate setting. So we can, I can share some views that I might not have been willing to share out in the open where I don't know who might be hearing out in the neighborhood in Abington. But my message to you today is actually a good segue from what Chancellor Fernandez was talking about, the power of words. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is the importance of not playing it safe. And I'm going to urge you to go do the things that you think that you cannot do. Go do the things that you think that you cannot do. And this is a slight variation on a statement that First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt used to express to people when she was serving as the longest serving First Lady in our nation, wife of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, activist, humanitarian, writer, commentator. And what this basic message was to tell the disenfranchised, the people that don't feel that they have the power, don't feel they have the connections, to stop listening to others who tell them, no, your group has never done this before, or your socioeconomic background is not going to allow you to succeed at this, or that your race, or that your gender, or that your religion, or your ethnicity, or sexual orientation is going to hold you back. Because there will always be people outside there to tell you that you can't accomplish what you want to accomplish, and there will often even be an inner voice inside of you telling you, well, maybe I can't do that because I've never been able to accomplish X, Y, and Z before, so why should I try something else? So when Chancellor Fernandez contacted me several months ago and asked me if I would be honored to join you today, I said, well, first I really want to visit the campus and sit down with a few of the students. And I had the opportunity to join several students after a tour of your campus and sitting in on classes. I got to have lunch in the Sutherland building in the beautiful solarium. And got to listen to what some of the students were talking about, what they had gained from their time here at Penn State Abington, and I also had the opportunity to listen to what their ambitions were. And I remember hearing several of the students talking about things like they wanted to go into diplomacy. Someone said they wanted to start a business because they wanted to build a business that they had in photography, wedding photography. And others told me they wanted to go into law, into psychology, into therapy, giving therapy to others. And one saying that they wanted to go into the armed services. And in listening to them, I thought, okay, I really want to come back here in May, on May 5th, and share some of the lessons that I've learned and give you some of the inspiration that I've had the opportunity to have. And as I drove through the neighborhood here, I thought to myself, gosh, this is such a beautiful little cocoon of a campus here, settled in a lovely neighborhood. And I thought, are these young people going to be willing to listen to someone like myself, despite the Princeton and Harvard Law School stuff? I'm also excuse my French, a shit stirrer. So, and I know I'm breaking all the rules by using that language here, but I have to say that one thing that I believe is necessary is for you to be able to stand up to any types of forces outside in the real world that tell you that no, you can't do this. And I learned this first when I was just about 5 years old. My parents, who had grown up in the segregated South in Memphis, Tennessee, had said to my brother and I was not quite 5 years old, said to my brother and I that they were going to look for a new home in a neighborhood in the suburbs of New York, outside of New York City, that was known to be not just affluent, but also not willing to sell to African Americans. And of course, back then we were black, not African Americans. I guess that came in the 80s. But so that was when I first learned the idea of not playing it safe. So my parents contacted many real estate brokers in the area, and at that time, real estate brokers were not showing homes to black families in these all-white neighborhoods. So my parents talked to relatives of ours who lived not in that particular community, but in neighboring communities, and one of them said, you're wasting your time, play it safe, go into a neighborhood that's already integrated, you don't need to be rocking the boat. And my parents, though, I didn't realize it until later, didn't mind rocking the boat because they felt there was nothing that they were going to see in the suburbs of New York in the late 1960s that they had not seen in the 1940s in segregated Memphis, Tennessee. So they contacted more real estate brokers. Still, the brokers took them around and said, no, we can't show you those streets. There's nothing available there. My parents said, well, we have the money to pay for it. They said, it doesn't matter. I don't think you'd be comfortable. Even though the schools are better, even though the neighborhoods are beautiful, we don't think you'd be comfortable there. So one of the brokers finally said, Mr. and Mrs. Graham, let's just face it, you're black, these are white neighborhoods, they're not going to welcome you, it'll be very difficult on you and your kids. Just play it safe and go to the neighborhoods that we're showing you. So finally, my parents turned to the classified section of the New York Times where they advertised homes. And this is before the internet where you could go online to find houses, so they were relying on the newspapers. And they found a home in a neyborhood that at that time was selling for $40,000. Doesn't sound like much money now, but in today's dollars, it'd be about maybe like $550,000, $600,000. And this $40,000 home, my parents said, this sounds like the type of house we're interested in. So my father called the owner of the house and spoke to the husband, and he said, if you can come here in 3 hours, we'll show you the house. We showed up at the front door on the porch of this house, this beautiful neighborhood, and the man opened the front door, did not open the screen door, looked at the screen and says, how can I help you? And my parents, who were my same color, and my brother who was 7 and I was almost 5 were standing there on the porch, and my dad said, well, we're the Grahams, I spoke to you 3 hours ago. And he said, you're the guy from the telephone? And my father said, yes. And he said, just a moment. He closed the door, and we stood out there for what felt like 5 minutes, but I'm sure was only maybe 60 seconds. And he came back and he said, okay, come in, but I should warn you, the price was wrong in the newspaper. It's actually considerably more. And within a minute, he raised it by 25%. So in today's dollars, basically raised it almost like $80,000, just like that. So we came in, sat down on the couch, and my father said, well, we would still like to have a tour. And so the owner said, my wife and I, my wife is a school teacher, and ophthalmologist and eye surgeon, and he said, we have no kids, but we feel a little uncomfortable selling the house to you. And my parents just sort of looked at each other and looked back at him, and he said, but let me explain why. And my father, who was a real pragmatist, said, we're not interested in why. We'll let you know if you give us a tour. We'll let you know if we are interested in the house. So my mother, though, was a psychologist, and she liked to understand people's motivations. So she said, well, I'm curious, why are you uncomfortable? And the doctor said, well, my wife and I are a mixed couple. And in my mind, at age 5, mixed meant black and white. But there was a white man and a white woman. And he said, my wife is Jewish, and I'm not. And because of that, the neighbors have really treated us badly. But you know, we could really teach them a lesson by selling the house to you. So, of course, I didn't understand what was going on, but when we got back in the car after the tour and drove back to our then current home, my parents said we were going to be the revenge on the neighbors, because what better revenge in the late 60s could you have in an affluent white neighborhood than to sell to a black family? And I'm dating myself here, but many of you probably have never heard of Archie Bunker. Maybe your parents have, who was, at that time, a character on a TV show called All in the Family. And he was a Norman Lear creation. A TV actor was played this character, Archie Bunker, who was the ultimate bigot, who had something to say about anything. He was, I think, white and Protestant, but he didn't like Catholics, didn't like Polish, didn't like, blacks and Puerto Ricans were the least of it. There was so many other folks that he just didn't like. But in my mind, this is what we were reliving here. So my parents took the tour of the house, and I'm telling you this story because I'm not sure today if I would have had the guts to have gone ahead and moved into a neighborhood where everybody, my relatives, the neighbors, the real estate brokers, even the people selling the house said, you are not going to be treated well here, you are not going to like it here. But that's the importance of why I say my message to you today is, don't accept the no's, don't accept the disappointing and the messages that are shared with you that's saying this is not going to work, it's not good for you, you're not going to succeed, you're not going to be happy. If your gut tells you this is what is right for you, and my parents felt this is where the best schools were, it was worth whatever sacrifice we had to go through. In the end, the neighbors took up a petition and collected money, in fact, to try to buy the house from Dr. Schroeder. That's not his name, it was really Dr. Kruger, but whatever. They're deceased now. In order to buy the house so that we couldn't buy it. So that's how aggressively and desperately this neighborhood wanted to preserve the racial history of this neighborhood. At that time, it had been around 110 years old. So I've learned a lot since then in leading my life, so that all of that happened long before I had ventured into writing the books that I was writing. But when I got to college freshman year, I decided that I wanted to write for national newspapers or magazines, because I was already writing for the campus paper. And I spoke to one of my English professors, and this was a new professor, actually it was a visiting professor, and she said, Lawrence, just write for the school newspaper. You'll never get published by a national magazine because, you're 17. Magazines and newspapers outside of campus papers are not going to publish an unpublished author. So once again, I thought, okay, well, I could play it safe and not do the thing that I wanted to do, but I said, let me just try it anyway. So I put together an outline for a book, and my plan is, I thought, write what you know. So my idea was I'd write an article about how to get through a college admissions interview. And at that point, I was working, my campus job was, is Tina in the room? Tina, the head of career development, is she in the room? I saw her earlier. Tina, who heads your career development program here, I told her when I first met her, I said, my very first job was working in the career development office in my college campus freshman year, and that's what gave me the idea to write this book, that first book. So I had this idea, I'll write this article on getting through the college admissions interview. I decided I wanted to maybe sell it to maybe Boys Life magazine or 17 magazine. Are you familiar with either of those magazines? Okay. So those were the big national magazines for teenagers at that time. So I contacted both magazines, wrote to them, and then called them, and they said, unfortunately, we don't publish unpublished authors. I said, well, how does somebody get published if you won't publish them? And they said, not our problem. So I thought, well, maybe that English professor was right. But I thought, no, let me try something else. So I thought, well, maybe if I write a book, that would be easier. And my father said, that's counterintuitive. If you can't sell a magazine piece, how are you going to sell a book? I said, well, we'll just figure out a way. My plan was to write a book called The 10-Point Plan for College Acceptance and take all the steps that all of you took in applying to college. How to study for the SAT, how to prepare for the admissions interview, how to write an essay, how to prepare for leaving home and being in an environment where it's no longer your parents telling you what to do, but actually professors and administrators. So I interviewed admissions officers, guidance counselors, students, and I put together an outline and wrote 2 chapters of the book. And at the time, when I was at Princeton, which is only about an hour and a half from New York, similarly situated from where you guys, how close you are to Philadelphia or to New York, I said, well, publishing is based in New York, so let me take a bus to New York. And my plan was, I figured I could go to New York, walk into a phone booth. Now, this is before cell phones, okay? Walk into a phone booth, and back then, phone calls were just a dime. This is in the 1980s. And I figured I would go through the phone book and start calling book publishers, and one of them would say, Lawrence, it sounds great, come on over and we'll publish your book. Okay, didn't happen that way. But I went into this phone booth in the corner of 48th and Lexington Avenue, East 48th Street and Lexington Avenue, went into a phone booth, and this is back when phone booths had phone books in them. And I started calling book publishers alphabetically. And one after one, they would tell me, I would talk to a receptionist or to a secretary or an assistant or a switchboard person and said, like, no, we don't take unpublished authors. Once again, that same story. And so finally, I got to a receptionist going down the alphabet to Prentice Hall, went all the way down to the P's at Prentice Hall Publishing, and she said, where are you? I said, I'm on the corner of East 48th and Lexington Avenue. And she said, you need to get a literary agent. And I said, what's a literary agent? And she said, a literary agent is someone like a sports agent or an actor or an actress's agent that represents you, that sells your ideas to a book publisher. So all this was new to me. So I said, well, where do I find them? And she said, well, where are you? I said, I'm in a phone booth on 48th and Lex. And she said, is there a phone book in that booth? I said, yes. She says, turn to the yellow pages and go to literary agents, which I did. And under L, I found literary agents, and she said, that's what you do. Call them and try to get them to represent you. So I'm in this phone booth now for like an hour and 15 minutes, people knocking, trying to get, because once again, no cell phones. This is how we made phone calls back then. And I had my 2 rolls of dimes, because back then it was still just a dime to make phone calls. And I said, I'm not leaving this phone booth until I get somebody to take this book. So I finally went down the alphabet in literary agents, and as I spent another 45 minutes calling, each one of them kept saying, sorry, you're too young, sorry, we don't take unpublished authors, we only represent people who are published already. I finally had 2 more people on the list. It was Susan Zeckendorf, Zeckendorf, and a Zuckerman after that. And so I called Susan Zeckendorf and I did my spiel. I'm a freshman student in college, I'm writing a book on how to get into college. And she says, oh, I just opened up my agency and I'm looking for new authors. She says, where are you? I said, well, I'm in the phone booth in the corner, 48th and Lexington Avenue. And she said, well, come on over. And I ran all the way over to 57th Street and 7th Avenue across from Carnegie Hall. And that's how I got my first agent and how I got my first book sold. That was before these other 14 books, before Netflix bought this deal, before the New York Times bestseller list. But in my mind, despite what others were saying to me, even my father, I felt that this was something that I wanted to do. And something that even though people said, take the easy way, write for the school paper, I felt I wanted to do something bigger, grander, greater than that. And the final story I want to share with you was an experience I had that almost got me fired from my law firm. In New York, I was working for a Wall Street law firm and still writing books at the same time. And I had just gotten married, and I was writing a book called The Best Companies for Minorities and Women. And my goal was to try to find the 100 best companies that would employ and retain and elevate women and people of color to high-level jobs. as I was completing the book, a lot of them kept telling me that because I asked them, what was the final barrier for you in corporate America that you feel would make you a success? Whether you are, in business or in law or in advertising, accounting, whatever your business is. And they said, breaking into country clubs, because that's where the networks were. Networking with, they said, we have no problem seeing each other, but we need to meet more powerful people if we want to bring in clients, if we want to build our business, if we want to move ahead in our companies and our firms. So I said, well, why don't you just join them? All these people were people that earned over six figures, at least $250,000 a year. They had great degrees. And I said, what's the problem? They said, well, these country clubs do not let us in. And this was not long ago. So I decided to do the next logical thing, and that was take a leave of absence from my law firm and try to go undercover as a waiter at a country club. I'm being facetious here, but that was my plan. I did something which none of you should do. I created a fictional resume. Don't ever do this. And I created a waiter's resume, which basically said, now I remember I was working at a law firm 3 years into my job at my law firm in New York. And I created this fictional resume because my goal was to go find out if it was still true in the 1990s that country clubs still discriminated against women and people of color, and if it was also still true that these were great places for people to network, golf clubs, country clubs, places like that. So I looked in the newspapers. Are any of you heard of Greenwich, Connecticut before? It's not a very big town, only like 50, 60,000 people there, but it's very wealthy, and there are 8 country clubs. I guess I would compare it to a town like Villanova or some of the mainline towns in Philadelphia. Do they still use that term, mainline? Okay, some of the wealthy towns outside Philadelphia. And my plan was to try to get a job as a waiter at one of those country clubs and see if it's true that they still discriminated. So with this fictional resume, I said that I had waited tables in 3 restaurants, not true. I said that I had gone to college for 2 years. Obviously, I'd gone to college and law school, but I didn't want to tell them that because they'd say, why do you want to be a waiter? And I said that I was 23 when actually I was 29. So I contacted clubs that advertised in the local Greenwich, Connecticut paper, and they advertised, they were looking for waiters. I would call them on the phone. I told them my real name. I said, this is Lawrence Graham. I'm 23 years old. I have waited tables at 3 restaurants, and I'm interested in getting a job at one of your clubs. And each one of them told me how many jobs were available, and I went to the first club, and I was supposed to speak to a woman named Dora. On the phone, she said she was the maitre d'. And I got to the club like a half an hour later, dressed in khakis and loafers and a blue blazer, and I went up to the receptionist, and she said, what do you want? It was a Monday morning, so there were no club members there. And I said, I'm here to see Dora. And she says, there's no Dora here. I said, well, I'm here to see your maitre d' about some jobs. She says, we don't have any jobs. I said, but I'm here to see your maitre d'. She says, we don't have a maitre d'. Now, this was the receptionist, and I had just spoken to the maitre d', her boss, about an hour earlier, and Dora on the phone had told me there were 8 jobs, but I thought, well, maybe I had the wrong club. So I looked at the newspaper ad, I said, is this your club? And she says, no, you've got the wrong club. And so I started to leave, and as I started to leave, I saw a trophy case, and over the trophy case was the name of the club, which matched the club in the newspaper. So I came back to her and I said, I hate to be a pest, but this is your club because the name on the wall matches the name in the ad. And she said, if you don't leave right now, I'm calling security. It happened just like that. So as I was starting to leave the building, I was passed by a young white guy, looked to be maybe 18, 19, and he had jeans and a t-shirt on, and I just stopped in the foyer and just watched. I couldn't hear them, but she stood up, and she went to a file cabinet, came back and gave him a couple sheets of paper and a pen, and he filled it out. And I thought, that looks like a job application. So I came back to her and I said, I hate to be a pest, but you said there are no jobs here, but he's filling out an application. And she said, if you don't leave right now, I'm calling security. I said, and she says, okay, I'll get your application. So she gets her application out of the same file cabinet. I start to fill it out, and I thought to myself, okay, what's she gonna do with this sheet of paper when I walk out the door? So I instead walked past her into a dining room, which was maybe half the size of this gym, and I found waiters and waitresses setting tables. There were no members there, but I walked over to one of the waiters. I said, is there a maitre d' working here? And he said, do you mean Dora? And I said, yes. He said, she's in the kitchen. So I went into the kitchen, and I walked up to a woman. I said, are you Dora? And she says, yes, how can I help you? I said, I'm Lawrence Graham. I spoke to you on the phone about half an hour ago about the 8 waiter jobs you have here. And she says, you're the guy from the phone? It was like the same conversation that my dad had had years and years earlier. And I said, yes, is there a problem? And she said, well, I can't hire you. And I said, well, what's the problem? She said, I just can't hire you. And there were waiters lining up behind her listening to the conversation. And I had a tape recorder in my breast pocket. I learned something from law school. I didn't know what I was going to hear from the conversation. I said, well, why can't you hire me? And she started backing up, and I was moving closer. And she said, I just can't hire you. I said, have you filled all 8 of those jobs in the last hour? And she says, no, but I can't hire you. So I left that club, and I had this experience at 4 other country clubs, where on the phone, a manager or the maitre d' told me how many jobs were available. When I got there, mysteriously, within an hour, there were no jobs, or they wouldn't hire me. When I went to the 6th club, the Greenwich Country Club, at that time it was 100 years celebrating its 100th anniversary, the manager said to me, we'll have to have a callback interview. And I don't know how many callback interviews you guys have had for various jobs, but I had 3 callback interviews for a waiter job in a country club that was $8.50 an hour. And at the 3rd callback interview, the manager of the club said, Lawrence, the staff and the membership have discussed it here, and we'd feel more comfortable if you'd work as a busboy instead of as a waiter. So, my credentials were dropping as we went. And also, so did I said, well, I've never worked as a busboy. And of course, I'd never worked as a waiter either, because that was my whole lie. But he said, take it or leave it. I took that job. The reason why I tell you this story is what I encountered there. And why I felt that it was important for me to soldier on is that my first day working there, a lot of the members and the staff said to me, Lawrence, are you going to be living in the monkey house while you're here? Have you moved into the monkey house yet? And nobody would tell me what the monkey house was, so finally I found one of the members who was in the one of the dining rooms. There were 2 different dining rooms I worked in. One was called the men's grill room, where the men ate. The other was with the mixed grill, M-I-X-E-D. And when I say mixed, I don't mean racially, ethnically. I mean that's where the women and kids ate. So the women and kids ate in one room. There was a kitchen in the middle, and then there was the men in the other dining room. Family-oriented club, what can I tell you? Sad. But I said, what's this monkey house you're asking about? They said, well, have you moved in yet? I said, well, what is the monkey house? And this member said, well, I've been a member for 35 years at this club, and the monkey house is the dormitory where our workers live. And I said, well, why do you call a dormitory at your country club a monkey house? And he said, well, before the 1980s, all of our workers here were black. The cooks, the waiters, the waitresses, everybody was black. So since they lived there, we naturally called it the monkey house. And I said, I don't get it. And of course I got it, I understood, but I thought, well, looking at me, is he gonna realize the irony of what he said? And I said, I don't get it. He says, well, like I said, all the people that lived in the monkey house were black, and so we called it the monkey house. And what was so shocking here is that when I wrote about this for New York Magazine, and it was their best-selling issue in their 40-year history, remains their best-selling issue in 55 years, is that people wrote in, members of that club wrote in angry and said, Mr. Graham mischaracterized our club. The monkey house happens to be a very nice building with large bathrooms and central air conditioning for all the workers that live there. I was on a CBS show where they called it and said, he neglected to mention that the monkey house has single rooms that are larger than any of the other rooms at the other dormitories at other country clubs. So for these people, these were executives at major companies, these were heads of hospitals, these were board members at various schools, these were people that honestly did not perceive themselves as being bigots. And that's why I say you have to go out there, you have to rock the boat, you have to go do the thing that you think that you cannot do. Now, of course, at this time, I was afraid, okay, when this article was about to come out, cover story of New York Magazine, I thought, I'm gonna get fired. Because I went back to my law firm, and I went to the 30th floor of the General Motors building where my law firm is, and I asked to speak to Ira Milstein, the head of my firm. I said, Mr. Milstein, I have to tell you I did something during my 2-month leave of absence from the law firm. He says, what is it? I said, well, I'm going to be on the cover of New York Magazine in 3 days, and you may want to fire me for it, and I just want to tell you in advance. He says, what's that? I said, well, I exposed the bigotry at a particular country club that does not allow blacks or Latinos or Asians or women or Jews, and at the time, they had just allowed their first Italian, non-Italian couple family. So, I mean, the insanity of the bigotry was amazing. And he said, well, why were you afraid to tell me this? I said, because I was afraid you were going to fire me. And he said, well, why didn't you tell me before? I said, because I wanted to make sure that the magazine had gone to press. And it went to press 3 hours ago. And I figured I didn't want you to put me in a position where I was going to have to stop doing what I was doing. I wanted the message to be out there. So ultimately, that country club did not change its rules, but a lot of the country clubs around the country, as well as the Professional Golf Association, created a rule where they said they would no longer have PGA tours at clubs that they knew discriminated against any of those groups. So I'm sharing this with you because no matter how great the risk is, no matter how exhausting the challenge is, no matter how many people say you can't do it, if you believe there's something that you were meant to do, you go out there and do it. Thank you so much for welcoming me here to Abington, and congratulations, graduates. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. And now, with the authority designated to me by the President of the University and the Board of Trustees, I will confer on each one of the candidates the degree earned as certified by the appropriate college faculty and the University Senate. I now call upon Dr. Andrew August, Interim Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, to present the candidates for associate degrees.
Sorry, we're on the wrong page here. Use the official script. Got it, thanks. Will the recipients of the associate degree please come forward to accept their diplomas as their names are called? Associate degrees, please rise. Candidates for the associate degree, please rise. Sorry. Dr. Fernandez, I'm pleased to present these worthy and approved candidates for the degree of associate granted by the Pennsylvania State University.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the President of the University and the Board of Trustees, I confer upon each of you the degree of associate. Congratulations. You may move your tassels.
Amberlyn Sipe, Human Development and Family Studies. Rita Kenny, Business Administration. Robert Jastrzemski, Business Administration. Melanie Silva, Letters, Arts and Sciences. Elizabeth Bickle, Business Administration. Michael Hunt, Letters, Arts and Sciences. Gwendolyn Taylor, Letters, Arts and Sciences.
Will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts please rise? Dr. Fernandez, I'm pleased to present these worthy and approved candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts granted by the Pennsylvania State University.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the President of the University and the Board of Trustees, I confer upon each one of you the degree of Bachelor of Arts. Congratulations. You may move your tassel.
Bachelor of Arts candidates, please be seated until the marshals call you forward to receive your diplomas.
Jenna Lancaster, Corporate Communication. Honora Hegarty, Integrative Arts. Taylor Gross, Psychological and Social Sciences. Amand Pace, Corporate Communications. Julie Cardinal, Advertising and Public Relations. Chelsea Johnson, Corporate Communication. Sarah Camarati, Psychological and Social Sciences. Jitin Patel, Corporate Communication. Kyra Lewis, Psychological and Social Sciences. Crystal Brown, Psychological and Social Sciences. Intisar Sarama, Criminal Justice. Eric Myers, Corporate Communication. Taylor Mole, Criminal Justice. Morgan Kelly, Corporate Communication. Angelique Capaz, Art. Marissa Stout, English. Maria Kravitz, Bachelor of Arts in Russian and in Marketing. Michael Cadigan, History. Dana Tresca, Psychological and Social Sciences. Stephen Oswald, Corporate Communication. Orlando Whittington, Psychological and Social Sciences. Ibrahim Dasso, English. Aubrey Phillips, English. Donna Marie Johnson, Corporate Communication. Leonardo DeSandro, Letters, Arts, and Sciences. Ryan Rose, Letters, Arts, and Sciences. Josephine Hurd Deans, Integrative Arts. Veronica Aguirre, History. Joseph Young, Corporate Communication. Nolan Ryan Kimball, Psychological and Social Sciences. Michelle Brook, Psychological and Social Sciences. Darby McGurk, Psychological and Social Sciences. Zachary Hober, Psychological and Social Sciences. Blair Blocker, Psychological and Social Sciences. Naima Perkins, Psychological and Social Sciences. Alexander Castro, Psychological and Social Sciences. Heather Cortez, Psychological and Social Sciences. Jackson Abati, English. Christina Shabaj, Psychological and Social Sciences. Lloyd Morgan, Psychological and Social Sciences. Brandon Schetzline, History. Courtney Meyer, Psychological and Social Sciences. Kevin Brennan, Labor Studies and Employment Relations. Molly Wyman, Corporate Communication. Mark Lenorio, Corporate Communication. Derek DeLuigi, Corporate Communication. Rafat Malik, English. Amanda Markowitz, History. Zahavat Kabak, Psychological and Social Sciences. Wonder Guanu, Psychological and Social Sciences. Anita Muscudi, Advertising and Public Relations. Andrew Puziz, Letters, Arts, and Sciences. Thu Vu, Psychological and Social Sciences. Kelly Reeves, Psychology and Sociology. Dominique Mason, Psychological and Social Sciences. Jordan Whitall, Psychological and Social Sciences. Bianca Womba, Psychological and Social Sciences. Rashida Parks, Advertising, Public Relations. Michaela Drogalis, Psychological and Social Sciences. Leonid Igdalov, English. Shamika Akanafe, Organizational Leadership. Corey Roan, Corporate Communication. Akhil Mokshi, Management and Marketing. Raymond Du, Psychological and Social Sciences. Ebony Branch, Psychological and Social Sciences. Angela Giannatta, English. Sasha Thomas, Psychological and Social Sciences. Eden Palazzi, Corporate Communication. Julisa Gibson, Psychological and Social Sciences. Kelsey Bibbs, Psychological and Social Sciences. Tiasha Roberts, Psychological and Social Sciences. Ralph Swartz, Psychological and Social Sciences. Madeline Luke, Psychological and Social Sciences. Tykiera Martin, Psychological and Social Sciences. Ruthie Hayford, Psychological and Social Sciences.
Will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science, the candidate for the Master of Education, and the candidate for the Master of Professional Studies please rise? Dr. Fernandez, I'm pleased to present these worthy and approved candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science, the degree of Master of Education, and the degree of Master of Professional Studies granted by the Pennsylvania State University.
By the virtue of the authority vested in me by the President of the University and the Board of Trustees, I confer upon the baccalaureate degree candidates the degree of Bachelor of Science, and upon the master's degree candidates the degree of Master of Education and the degree of Master of Professional Studies. Congratulations. You may move your tassels.
Please be seated until the faculty marshals call you forward to the stage to receive your diplomas.
Corey Greenberg, Business. Zachary Litvinenko, Administration of Justice. Katrina Rodak, Criminal Justice. At Penn State Abington, we have a long-standing tradition. When the son or daughter of a faculty or staff member graduates, we invite that faculty or staff member to present the diploma on stage. Will Jasmine Johnson please step forward? Tamika Duggett, a staff member in Business Services, will present the diploma to her daughter. Jasmine Johnson, Rehabilitation and Human Services. Shelrika Perkins, Criminal Justice. Michael Davis, Administration of Justice. Vincent Vong, Information Sciences and Technology. Daniel Bromley, Business. Vera Odvu Ajay, Science. Roshan Phillip, Science. Amanda Pinto, Biology. Samantha Nelson, Biology. Paul Suskovich, Information Sciences and Technology. Paul D'Alessandro, Biology. Danielle Witz, Biology. Andrew Melnick, Business. Mary Gitman, Business. Rachel Bowl, Accounting. Jawan Bay, Business. Benjamin Cherian, Bachelor of Science in Biology and Psychological and Social Sciences. Jigar Patel, Information Sciences and Technology. Joseph Altamore, Information Sciences and Technology. Eric Lee, Information Sciences and Technology. Patrick Lee, Information Sciences and Technology. Sabrina Liu, Science. Vladislav Haldy, Business. Scott Lukens, Business. Ashley Kahn, Rehabilitation and Human Services. Andrew Crick, Bachelor of Arts in Administration of Justice and History and Psychological and Social Sciences. Justin Capizzi, Business. Anthony Tran, Business. Tina N. Tran, Biology. Edna Trong, Biology. Aaliyah White, Biology. Sneha Thomas, Science. Whitney Rembert, Administration of Justice. Rachel Williams, Criminal Justice. Robert Martin, Biology. Eric Moyer, Biology. Sarah Gillespie, Criminal Justice and Psychological and Social Sciences. Nicolette Marone, Psychological and Social Sciences. Brian Trindle, Elementary and Early Childhood Education. Ashley Byer, Elementary and Early Childhood Education. Heidi Smith, Elementary and Early Childhood Education. Ashley Cardona, Elementary and Early Childhood Education. Ashlyn Stevens, Elementary and Early Childhood Education. Joyce Cho, Elementary and Early Childhood Education. Samantha Peterson, Elementary and Early Childhood Education. Alexandra Robavaro, Elementary and Early Childhood Education. Jamie Devine, Elementary and Early Childhood Education. Sarah Miller, Elementary and Early Childhood Education. Ashley Mackin, Elementary and Early Childhood Education. Rachel Sparks, Elementary and Early Childhood Education. Rafaela Capuano, Rehabilitation and Human Services. Megan Daly, Elementary and Early Childhood Education. Jennifer Preston, Elementary and Early Childhood Education. Allison Zawino, Elementary and Early Childhood Education. Justin Bender, Elementary and Early Childhood Education. Joshua Calderon, Business. Robert Paff, Business. Adam Nemec, Business. Charles Brown, Business. Matthew Zippin, Business. Ian Mullen, General Engineering. Achut Kute, General Engineering. Dmitry Kovbasiak, Criminal Justice. Charlou Peterson, Criminal Justice. Ryan Groves, Criminal Justice. Michael Gannon, Criminal Justice. Katrina Backel, Criminal Justice. Michael Pionti, Business. Ashish Baby, Information Sciences and Technology. Gabrielle Puliak, Information Sciences and Technology. Anthony Curran, Information Sciences and Technology. Elaine Tang, Information Sciences and Technology. Abu Chowdhury, Information Sciences and Technology. Rahul Patel, Information Sciences and Technology. Sneha Patel, Psychological and Social Sciences. Stacy Danucci, Business. Andrew McGinnis, Business. James Mysick, Business. Shayna Armstrong, Criminal Justice. Manisha Saju, Rehabilitation and Human Services. Nazreen Karenli, Information Sciences and Technology. Luciani Melo da Silva, Business. Rebecca Stitzinger, Business. Alyssa Capola, Business. Brandon Richardson, Criminal Justice. Keith Zibico, Business. Renee Cossack, Science. Tara Devine, Business. Agar Exentus, Science. Bilal Farnham, Information Sciences and Technology. Renner Perez, Information Sciences and Technology. Kaval Patel, Information Sciences and Technology. Jean-Marie Cologne, General Engineering. Sally Ferris, General Engineering. John Zick, Criminal Justice. Daniel Stack, General Engineering. Chen Ni, Business. Kyle Rogers, Business. Eric Mulholland, Business. Jamie Miller, Biology. Samantha Bongiorino, Biology. Amanda Benitez, Science. Nicholas Chicatano, Science. Frank Cooper, Biology. Aaron Wong, Science. Frances Petethron, Administration of Justice. David Ramos, Accounting. Caitlin Smith, Rehabilitation and Human Services. Nam Dangvi, Accounting. Brandon Palmer, Information Sciences and Technology. Anna Kayeva, Business. Michael Hensel, Accounting. Ethan Zavaglia, Information Sciences and Technology. Zishan Irfan, Information Science and Technology. Abu Sakif, Information Sciences and Technology. Angelica Trusty, Information Sciences and Technology. Sydney Woodhouse, Information Sciences and Technology. Michael Lamb, Business. Megan Knuckles, Accounting. Liliana Medina, Accounting. Christina Krajenia, Psychological and Social Sciences. Stephen Acuna, General Engineering. John Harrison, Information Sciences and Technology. Kevin Merkel, Business. Elise Lieber, Business. Niamatu Brim, Business. Samuel Hoffinger, Information Sciences and Technology. Aaron King, Business. Colin Evans, Business. Adam Gregus, Business. Nicholas Martin, Biology. Tyler Hunt, Business. Scott Schwengler, Business. Jalea Brown, Administration of Justice. Ahmad Al-Haddad, Information Sciences and Technology. Emily Farrell, Rehabilitation and Human Services. Venera Pano, Science. Kulinjango Danu, Business. Abbott Holzman, Business. Hasnain Irfan, Business. Sally Fung, Business. Madison Kimball, Biology. Jane Sale, Business. Koran Prince, Information Sciences and Technology. Joseph Freenock, Information Sciences and Technology. Ryan Patrick McGuire, Elementary and Early Childhood Education. Jensen Samuel, Information Sciences and Technology. Jahura Ferdous, Information Sciences and Technology. Nelson Rodriguez, Information Sciences and Technology. Calvin Peterson, Accounting. Sid Mishra, Business. Barodi Augustin, Psychological and Social Sciences. Portia Lee, Rehabilitation and Human Services. Dania Benoit, Science. Samara Charles, Science. Jackie Chen, Information Sciences and Technology. Andrew Kraft, Business. Julianne Staskell, Rehabilitation and Human Services. Catherine McAllister, Rehabilitation and Human Services. Nina Piskorski, Rehabilitation and Human Services. Ave Amoroso, Rehabilitation and Human Services. Matthew Wolf, Rehabilitation and Human Services. Ileani Gomez, Life Science. Tina Tran, Science. Rex Long, Science. Michael Chen, Science. Humaira Hamel, Biology. Omar Ibar, Criminal Justice. Zane Ford, Criminal Justice. Zakia Major, Rehabilitation and Human Services. Caitlin Lahuda, Business. Karen Patel, Biology. Aya Al-Sharif, General Engineering. Shane McPeak, Business. Matthew Bugaida, Criminal Justice. Christopher Bugaida, Criminal Justice. Quadira Scott, Information Sciences and Technology. Astrich Michelle, Rehabilitation and Human Services. Layla Zhao, Business. Amanda McLean, Information Sciences and Technology. Anju Kurian, Information Sciences and Technology. Azuba Noel, Science. Abhishek Arora, Business. India Huddy, Business. Sherry Satchel, Business. Karen Dorless, Rehabilitation and Human Services. Jamin Brewster, Accounting. Andy Tatari, Business. Lazina Chowdhury, Science. Ziani Mohammed McDeer, Science. Nehemiah Maxwell, Rehabilitation and Human Services. Lakeisha Colon Davalia, Rehabilitation and Human Services. Paige Mayo, Accounting. Ivana Camacho, Accounting. To continue in the spirit of Penn State Abington's unique tradition, will Theodore Halnan please step forward? Dr. Karen Halnan, Associate Professor of Sociology, will present the diploma to her son. Theodore Halnan, Physics. David Cridland, Nursing. Karen Hart, Nursing. Barbara Woodard, Nursing. Teresa Dabney, Nursing. Melissa Renrick, Nursing. Rebecca Chu, Nursing. Ashley Jesse, Nursing. Ryan Glennon, Nursing. Christine Bradley, Nursing. Christine Gonzalez, Nursing. Lisa Calabrese, Nursing. Katie Doughton, Nursing. Suzanne Hendry, Nursing. Olivia Catherine Matthews, Nursing. Nakisha Bowie, Nursing. Janelle Vaughn, Nursing. Stacy Kane, Nursing. Keisha Bivanis, Nursing. Adam Nazaruk, nursing. Marie Cruz, nursing. Michael Marco, nursing. Christine Cook, nursing. Francesca Abrams, nursing. Fu Din, nursing. Solani Roro, nursing. Caitlin Hoddes, nursing. Maria Narodetsky, College of Education, Master of Education. Marjorie Apollon Shields, Master of Professional Studies.
I almost gave you my name. Stuart Little, history.
Those whose names appeared in the program but were not called to the stage have elected to graduate in absentia. I now call upon Dr. August to introduce those students who are graduating with academic honors.
Before we get to the honors, I think we may have another big round of applause for all the graduates. The Pennsylvania State University regards outstanding scholarship as a meritorious achievement that deserves public recognition. Several of our graduates today are included in the honors group. There may be others who will be named to the group as a result of their final semester's work. If so, they will be so designated in an official Penn State Abington program. It's now my pleasure to introduce those present who are graduating with honors. Students who are graduating summa cum laude are wearing blue and white cords. Students who are graduating magna cum laude are wearing blue cords, and students who are graduating cum laude are wearing white cords. Please hold your applause until after I've read all the names. Students, please rise as I call each of your names and remain standing. Summa cum laude, Julia Cardinal. Magna cum laude, Rachel Bohl, Michael Chen, Brian Kim, Jenna Lancaster, Jane Lee, Scott Lukens, Robert Martin, Nina Piskorski, Julia Smith, Sasha Thomas. Cum laude, Elizabeth Bickle, Charles Brown, Justin Capice, Nam Dangvi, Joseph Frenak, Angela Gianetta, Sarah Gillespie, Jesse Heath, Zachary Hober, Anju Kurian, Jessica Loveland, Rafat Malik, Nelson Rodriguez, Jillian Rosado, Ryan Rose, Mark Sokolsky, Neha Thomas, Orlando Whittington, Bianca Wambo. You have our heartiest congratulations on your scholastic achievements. And you may be seated. Among the outstanding graduates here today, I want to recognize those who are earning more than one degree. Benjamin Cherian earned a Bachelor of Science in Biology and a Bachelor of Arts in Psychological and Social Sciences. Sarah Gillespie received Bachelor of Science degrees in Criminal Justice and Psychological and Social Sciences. Maria Kravitz earned a Bachelor of Science in Marketing and a Bachelor of Arts in Russian. And now Andrew Crick, who received 3 degrees today, a Bachelor of Science in Psychological and Social Sciences a Bachelor of Arts degrees in Administration of Justice and History. Benjamin, Sarah, Maria, and Andrew, we acknowledge your accomplishments. You may be seated. Will Rachel Bowl and Jenna Lancaster please stand? These graduates are Spring 2017 Student Marshals and co-valedictorians. The Student Marshal designation is considered an honor by the university in recognition of academic achievement. You may be seated. The Faculty Marshal role is an esteemed privilege. The role of the Faculty Marshal during commencement is not just to lead our faculty into the ceremony, but to set the tone and decorum for our graduates on the day of their commencement. The position is symbolic of our faculty's involvement in shaping students' lives. Will Dr. Judy Osmond please rise? Dr. Osmond, our graduation marshal, is chair of the Abington College Faculty Senate. Will the faculty marshals please rise? Our faculty marshals are Dr. Samir Uzamji, Associate Dean for Policy, Planning, and Assessment, Dr. Zafar Hedahet, Division Head for Science and Engineering, Dr. Roy Robson, Division Head for Arts and Humanities, and Dr. Fran Sessa, Interim Division Head for Social Sciences. Please join me in thanking all of our commencement marshals. You may be seated. It's now my pleasure to present the Abington Faculty Recognition Award winners. Will each recipient please stand to be recognized? The Scholar Award goes to Dr. Stephen Bloomer, Associate Professor of Biology. The Penn State Abington Outstanding Teacher Award for Tenure-Line Faculty goes to Dr. Roxana Senishin, Assistant Professor of Applied Linguistics and Communication Arts and Sciences. The Outstanding Teaching Award for Instructors and Lecturers goes to Ola El-Rashidi, Lecturer in Chemistry. The Award for Distinguished Faculty Service goes to Dr. Dolores Fedician, Head Librarian. The Outstanding Faculty Advising and Mentoring Award goes to Dr. Kathleen Fadigan, Assistant Professor of Education. The Special Recognition Award goes to Jose Luis Montiel, Lecturer in Latin American Studies and Spanish.
Will Jiwon Bae, Angela Gianetta, Sarah Gillespie, Robert Martin, and Eric Moyer please come to the stage for the Schreier Honors College Medal presentation. Let me tell you a little about the significance of the medallion and about the senior thesis these graduates completed to earn it. This medallion recognizes outstanding achievements and is a visible sign of their commitment to learning and scholarly pursuits. It is inscribed, don't be shy, scholarly achievement, integrity of purpose, and intellectual curiosity. Jiwon Bae. Jiwon Bae, a business major, examined the relationship between top executives and firm performance in the context of 4 distinct areas: cognitive and behavioral perspective, CEO impact, environmental influence, and demography. Sarah Gillespie, who earned a degree in psychological and social sciences, studied the imposter phenomenon, or the feeling of phoniness experienced by competent people as it relates to attrition in college students. Biology major Robert Martin examined the effect of vitamin C on breast cancer cell lines. He found a decreased growth of the cell lines with vitamin C therapy. Robert. Eric Moyer, a biology major, focused on age-associated physical changes that occur in certain cell populations of the kidney, spleen, and liver, and their potential contribution to the increased inflammation seen in the elderly population. Did I miss one here? Yes. English major Angela Janetta analyzed 4 of director Stanley Kubrick's films using the Aristotelian tragic hero structure to simplify and demystify the content of Kubrick's works. Thank you, Angela. Congratulations. You may return to the seats. The role of a valedictorian is reserved for the highest achieving student in the class. This spring, we have 2 outstanding individuals, Rachel Bohl and Jenna Lancaster. Will Jenna please come forward? Jenna, a corporate communications major, will speak on behalf of the class of 2017 today.
Good morning, distinguished guests, faculty, families, and to my fellow graduating students, congratulations. The day we've anxiously been waiting for has finally arrived. It is truly an honor to stand before you all today. In preparing this speech, I was at a loss for where to begin. However, I was able to find inspiration through a quote from J.K. Rowling. The consequences of our actions are always so complicated, so diverse, that predicting the future is a very difficult business indeed. However long ago your college journey may have begun, it was likely you didn't know where you would be today, and that's okay. We live in a world that is constantly changing, and chances are you've strayed from the path that you were once on. Often, we face challenges that we could not have anticipated. It's how we handle those uncertainties that shape us and allow us to grow. For myself, the past 4 years have enriched my life in many ways, but not only providing me with the necessary tools to enhance my skills, but also valuable knowledge about our diverse world, its people, the cultures, and social issues. Through my journey at Penn State Abington, I've been privileged enough to see this growth, not only through the size of our campus, but within the individual students as well. Our professors have been preparing us for what is next, but that doesn't mean everything is going to happen all at once tomorrow. While today is certainly a milestone, it isn't the beginning of the rest of your life. All along, we have been shaping our lives through every action and decision we've made. You are allowed to not have an answer for the question, what are you doing after college? Success is not measured by how quickly you establish yourself professionally. So take the time to travel, to backpack across Europe, to spend time with your family, or to even enjoy a few drinks with friends. The working world isn't going anywhere. This is your time to explore the endless possibilities, routes, and opportunities afforded to you by earning a bachelor's degree. Always remember that you have the ability to change your future, and that we are capable of greatness. Thank you, and again, congratulations, class of 2017.
Thank you, Jenna. Would co-valedictorian Rachel Bohl please come forward to introduce the Lionheart Award winner?
I am pleased to present the Lionheart Award. The lion represents Penn State, and the heart symbolizes energy, effort, and integrity. This award recognizes a faculty, staff, or administration member who inspired our class and who exemplifies the ideals of energy, effort, and integrity. A nominator described the winner as a motivator who inspired students to look beyond themselves and help them bond over professional development, service learning, and the rigorous curriculum. She is a passionate leader who served as a sounding board while calling them on the carpet when necessary. The 2017 Lionheart Award winner is lecturer in education, Ann Martinelli.
Thank you, Rachel, and congratulations, Anne. It is my pleasure to introduce Melissa Quintana, President of Penn State Abington Alumni Society Board, who will welcome our new graduates into the society.
Thank you, Dr. Fernandez. On behalf of the Penn State Alumni Association, I am delighted to welcome you into the largest, most connected network in the world. Today, you join more than 658,000 proud and successful Penn State alumni who are making a difference in their communities and their professions. We urge you to stay connected to the university and to other Penn Staters. We will help you with our graduation gift of a one-year free membership in the Penn State Alumni Association. It will keep you informed, provide services and benefits, and connect you with a network of more than 300 alumni groups in the world. And it also automatically includes membership in the Abington Alumni Society. So, would our new graduates please rise? Would all Penn State alumni in the audience please rise, if you may? It gives me great pleasure to induct all graduates into the Penn State Alumni Association. On behalf of all members, congratulations and welcome to the Pride. Please be seated.
Thank you, Melissa. Please join me once more in congratulating our graduates. We invite you to come to the Lair Student Union building for a reception immediately following the ceremony. And it seems to have stopped raining. The rain dance probably worked opposite that I was expecting it to, but anyway, we will take what we get. The Abington College Spring Commencement will conclude with a Penn State alma mater. The words are on the inside front cover of your program. We invite you to rise, join in the singing Con Anima, and remain standing until the processional has left the auditorium.
Last movement of the Mozart.
Hold just a moment, and then if you're going to play any more, which is fine, I just kind of want people to know that we are officially done. So, thank you.
We'll play them out.
Once again, it sounded beautiful. Wonderful.
Last movement.
Yeah, I think they know now, so you're going to play more. That's okay.
Do you want to play any more? The last movement. Just go right through, no repeats.
Just the first little repeat.
First little
straight through.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Peter. Good. Thanks.